attending IMPACT23. We're celebrating the 8th year of the amazing work that we're doing at Step Up Durham, and I am Amanda Barnett. I'm a board member and a proud member to be a part of Step Up, and I'm also a Step 2 volunteer. Every day I fall in love a little bit more with the mission of Step Up and the great work that they do and on the community. And one thing that I want to recognize is that this is a team effort. And so I hope you can join me in thanking our wonderful sponsors. I would like to introduce us to Jeff Polish, and he's going to be our MC. He's the executive director of the Monty and in Durham, which is great. If you're not familiar with the Monty, it is fantastic for public speaking and storytelling. So welcome, Jeff.
And I'm using notes today, by the way. I love it when Amanda, thank you, Amanda. I love it when Amanda said he's the executive director of the Monty, and 2 people clapped at first. And then the rest of you clapped out of pity. I love it. I love that so much. Also, for those of you who haven't been asked to stand up, please stand up. No, I'm just kidding. No. Kidding. Thank you so much. And thanks again to our sponsors, board and staff who invest in the success of Step Up Durham. When I was approached to MC this Impact Luncheon, I was like, so excited. This is great. The work that Step Up Durham does in this community is not only incredible, it's inspiring. So, thank you for having me come in to be a part of this today. Thanks. But then I met our panelists too. We had a nice dinner leading up to this event and the speakers for today's event. And, I specialize in storytelling, and I heard the stories of April and Ed and Penny and Billy and Gary, and you'll be hearing from them on the panel today. And they have some powerful stories and messages to share, some of their own personal experiences, and I'm really excited to introduce you to them today. But before we get to that, let's talk about today's theme for Impact Luncheon. It's Infinite Possibilities, which coincidentally was the theme to my senior prom. Yeah, it was. It was either that or Enchantment Under the Stars. No, thank you. What can we each accomplish with people on our side, on our team, to help us move toward our goals, to help us remove those obstacles and barriers put in front of us, to jump those hurdles, to lay in our paths? That's exactly what the staff and board do at Step Up Durham. And, so I've been working in the storytelling world for 15 years, and I've heard hundreds, maybe over 1,000 stories. And we're talking about people in this community, people outside of this community, people outside of this country. I've worked with a lot of frontline health workers working in developing countries, talking about the work that they do. This is not a self-promotion thing, but actually there's a deeper message here, because as I learn the stories of the people from around the world, what I've learned is that the things that we want as human beings living in different communities, they're actually the same. All around the world, people want the very same things. They want to love and to be loved. They want to live a life of purpose. And they want to thrive. They want to thrive in their world, financially, but also just thrive socially within their community, and to have the people that they love thrive. But not every person in every community has access to these ideals. We just sometimes can't all achieve these fundamental values. And so that's why we need help sometimes, help from our community. So I want to tell you a little about Step Up Durham. Step Up Durham's story began in 2013 with the formation of an exploratory committee consisting of Durham residents concerned with under and unemployment in our city. After examining Step Up's core values and programming in Raleigh and Greensboro, the committee determined that opening a local office would benefit Durham families. The committee helped us establish racial equity, community listening, and asset-based community development as core organizational principles and practices. Guided by Step Up Ministries' mission, they opened Step Up Durham's doors in September of 2015. In June of 2017, Step Up Durham moved to ReCity Network in downtown Durham. ReCity Network is a co-working space for nonprofits, mission-driven businesses, and faith-based organisms. I'm a reformed scientist, so let's just, all right, anyway, organizations. It functions as a hub for social impact by fostering opportunities for collaborative partnerships that begin with shared space and aims for shared impact that addresses issues related to race, gender, wealth, and opportunity. Step Up Durham aims to be the premier resource in Durham County for people seeking to improve their lives and develop stable careers. This organization exists to assist adults and children transforming their lives through employment and life skills training. That's huge. That's awesome. Can we get a round of applause for such an incredible mission? So as we look at what needs to take place for infinite possibilities to exist in each of our lives, we have to examine the past, the present, and push towards the future. And that's exactly what we'll do today with our panel discussion, followed by the powerful story of April Scales. Please join me in welcoming Ed Chapman, Step Up Durham participant to the stage, Penny McGee, CEO of Corner Clean LLC, and Billy and Gary Bauer, volunteers for the Step 2 program. Let's give them a round of applause. How are we doing?
Great.
All right, we're gonna have a nice little panel discussion here, and we'll start with Billy and Gary, who are right here. Let's give them a round of applause, Billy and Gary Bauer. So, how did you first become involved with Step Up Durham?
Well, I guess I'll speak to that. We first became involved because we are members of the congregation at Duke Chapel, and we are part of their racial equity group.
It's gone through some names.
Yeah, it's gone through some name changes, so I don't know what to call it anymore. Anyway, so our minister, Carol, threw out all these different possibilities of ways we could get involved because we did not want to reinvent the wheel. And so I took the list and went to websites and looked around. And when I got to Step Up Durham, I kind of stopped and went, oh, I think this might be it. Because Gary and I are retired math teachers, and we saw there might be an opportunity to be a tutor. And I said, okay, this may be a place where we can fit in. And so I called and talked to Pauline. I think that's her name. Is that right, people? Pauline? Yeah. I talked to Pauline. And Pauline says, no, with COVID and everything, we aren't meeting face to face, so we're not really doing tutoring right now. And I said, well, what other needs do you have? She said, well, we could use some Step Up 2 co-partners. I said, okay, we can do that. And I said, so what does that involve? And she told me, she said, can you be on a Zoom meeting tonight? I went, sure. That's the way it went. So that's how we really got involved. It was quick, easy, and it has been really an amazing experience for both of us, which Gary will speak to.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Step 2, the Step 2 program?
I think Gary's going to talk about that.
Gary.
Oh, am I? Oh.
Why
Yeah.
not?
You don't always know when you get to speak, Step 2 is, that Step 1 is get them employed within 45 days at $15 at least an hour. So thank you, second employers, because everybody knows not everybody wants to hire somebody that just got out of prison. Thank you. And Step 2 is where we do some training, some educational stuff on finances and healthcare, et cetera. And then our job is to be co-partners with them. So we meet 8 weeks sessions and have a break and then do another 8 weeks. And our job is to listen, to help them as they walk through. So there's some training going on there, and then we have about a half an hour. And when we start, everybody has to write down a goal. What are you working on? And as volunteers, we also have to do a goal. So you don't just get to talk, you got to walk. And that has been incredibly wonderful. And of course, we've met people that just blow you away.
I want to add to that. You know, if you're in step 2 and you're in the 8-week program and you happen to, as a participant, and you happen not to be able to fulfill all 8 weeks or something like that, Step Up Durham's not going to just throw you out to the wolves and go, oh, sorry, you messed up. They're going to say, okay, you can do another one. We'll do another one. We can go at this again. So, you know, it's giving people more than one chance to do something. And I think it's great that, you know, we're continually mentoring and just trying to love the people. I think that's what Jay tells us. We just need to love everybody.
So you've basically hit on this a little bit, but how has volunteering with Step Up Durham had a positive impact on your lives?
It's the people you meet. You know, you come and you volunteer, and you get to be a part of helping somebody change their life. But of course, what happens? Your life changes. We'll see if I can get through this. Try to do this without a name. Well, I'll do it without a name, without gender specifics. But one of the people that was in our group, had just been released from prison, had been estranged. This was a lot easier when I did it in front of the mirror. Estranged for 30 years from his family. And when this person did their goals, it was gratitude. I'm thinking, okay, you just got out of prison. You know, you haven't talked to your family in 30 years. And you're grateful. So to continue with that just a little bit, this person was really involved with working, and we were concerned that the person was actually working way, way too much. And so what the person said was, well, I know what happens when I have time on my hands, so I'm just going to keep busy. And actually, the person was, when he was young, he went to live with someone else, and really his sister and he just reconnected, and now is living with his sister and her kids, and things are going very well for this person. And, you know, there's aspirations that the person has, and hopefully they'll be able to, you know, follow through on those things, which is great. And that's definitely a personal story. And as you can see, it's really affected my husband.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Ed, how about you? Tell us a little about your story. How did you get involved with Step Up Durham?
I was in Florida, and my friends up here, they asked me where I wanted to go. So they introduced me to Jubilee Home. Oh,
Yeah, just grab it.
sorry. Like I said, I was in Ocala, Florida, and I was in another rehab down there. And I was way out in the sticks, and I do mean sticks. And my family wanted me to come back to North Carolina because my illness, my health kept getting worse and worse. So they had two options. I could go to Trosa, or I could go to Jubilee Home. They told me that Trosa was going to be like a prison camp, so I went to Jubilee Home. Once I got to Jubilee Home, you know, I felt like I was, you know, I had finally found that place. And it was there that I was introduced to Step Up Durham. And once I got in with the group, you know, I started learning something about myself, that my journey hasn't stopped, it's continued. And that with Step Up Durham, you know, they can take you to that next step. You know, so I want to continue to learn more about myself, you know, because who knows? The sky's the limit, you know. And I am very grateful for what they have done and continue to do, not just for me, the panel, but to the community at large. So keep up the work, Step Up.
So Ed, a follow-up question to that, like, you know, what is possible now in your life that wasn't possible, you know, now, you know, before?
I mean, with, I get to go back driving again. But the important thing for me is to be able to get out there and tell people about Step Up Durham. You know, to spread the word, because they embrace me. And you can feel the love immediately. So by us getting out there and talking to people, encouraging them that you're not alone. There's others out there that need that help. And Step Up Durham is the way to go. They get involved with you. They sit there. It's like they walk with you. And they do. Because everything they teach you is something that you need to know. They told me, in the class that I was doing, taught me about finances. I was good at spending money. I just didn't know how to save money. You know, so taking a class in that, you know, and just being able to laugh and joke, you know, but they're serious about what they do, you know. It's always good to have laughter in your life, because life without laughter is no life at all. And I mean, Step Up Durham, they have multiple qualities about yourself. It's not just one thing in particular. It's everything about them. I mean, if you're not in there, you don't know what living is. You know, you committed, they're committed, and they keep you on that right path. And I mean, I am very grateful for that. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks, Ed. Penny, what drove you to become a second chance employer?
I believe every human being, regardless of what their past looks like, have the right to have an opportunity to be what they define as successful and happy and gainfully employed if that's what they want to do. That's why. I started my personal heart, I would call it, for people who have been involved in the justice community when I was on a council called the JCPC. Anybody here from a JCPC? Juvenile Crime Prevention Council. So, I got that perspective, and then I joined some things that got me into the jail, but never have I been involved in the prison system as far as a volunteer or offering to help people. But I just believe in everybody's innate right to have respect. And there's only when someone has had really a tough life, they haven't been given opportunities, and and they have been, first of all, the majority of the folks in the prisons have had a considerable amount of institutional racism that they've had to deal with before they ever even got there. Then we institutionalize them so that they don't learn and don't know how to take care of themselves. And then we expect them to come out and act like one of us. And that system is broken. It's just ridiculous. I was on a panel the other day about this and found out that when you're in prison or you're in jail, when you're released, if you don't have an ID, you're still released. Do you know how hard it is to get an ID? How long it takes to get an ID? I can't hire you without an ID because the government says I can't hire you without an ID. So our perceptions and expectations are skewed. And I see this as a group of people that there's a because of what I do, I might be able to help 1, 2, maybe 3 people get a foot up.
So what tips or advice do you have for anyone interested in becoming a second chance employer?
There's a considerable amount of joy in knowing that you've helped someone. I mean, we've heard folks talk about that. If you're looking for that, which I hope people are, that's a good way to seek it. The other advice I would give them is that to those who much has been given, much is expected. Those of us who maybe run businesses and own businesses, we have an opportunity to help folks who don't have those things. And we can make the decision to help or not to help. And I'm nobody's judge, but you judge yourself, right? Don't we each judge ourselves more than even probably other people judge us? Here's a place where we can make our lives count, make our jobs count, make our businesses count in a positive way by helping people. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so in just one short sentence, if you were talking with somebody about the possibility of joining Step Up Durham in the same role that you have, what would you say about the benefits of doing so? Billy and Gary? Oh, yeah.
Well, I know when I was looking for something that was like going to make a positive impact on people in the community, and I felt like this was going to be a program that would do that, and I have seen that it is. I mean, maybe not 100% is it going to help everyone who joins, but definitely a significant amount. And I guess I wanted someone, instead of just, talking about it, somebody who's just doing something. And I think that's what's happening.
You get a chance to help somebody change their life, and you'll be changed. You'll be changed. I have never been in an environment that is more supportive, less judgmental. They take you wherever you are, and they love you.
So I kind of answered that question before, but I will add one thing. If you help somebody the way that you could help them as an employer, you'll have a dedicated, caring employee that cares about you, not just because of your business, but you personally, and a lifelong friend. And I'm blessed to have some of those because of my participation with folks who are in the second chance situation.
It's like having an extended family, like you're having a big old family reunion. And I mean, like I said, especially people you haven't seen in a long time. So, I mean, you're my extended family. I mean, dysfunctional I am. I am what I am. But I love you for it. Thank you.
I'd like to thank all of our panelists here. Can we give them a big round of applause? Sure. I mean, you could feel it, right? So much heart on this stage, so much emotion. It's moving and it's inspirational. So thank you so much. Now, if there is so much to learn from our panelists, and if you're interested, they'll be here after this program from 1 to 1:30 if you want to approach them, talk to them, and get involved. I mean, they're here to talk to you, so thank you very much. All right, our next guest is an amazing woman and has led such a compelling life. When I first met her, I couldn't believe the tenacity and her resolve to create a better world for herself and her son, even when in such a tough situation. April Scales joins us to share with us her story of her past and to tell us how Step Up Durham is helping her to create infinite possibilities for her future. April, please join us. Thank you.
I was born to teenage parents who eventually led a life of crime. My father for murder and drugs, my mother for white-collar crimes to support her drug addiction. My mother shunned her responsibilities like me, and as a result, I was raised by my adopted grandparents. I was an honor roll student, but lacked social skills. My grandparents monitored me closely due to the mistakes that my mother had made for fear that history would repeat itself. I obtained little freedom, but at the age of 14, I obtained a summer job at my soon-to-be high school. I met a man who brought me a single yellow rose. That rose turned out to be the kiss of death. We began to sneak around and spend a lot of time together. This man was 29 years old. I became pregnant. Very few knew, but it was suspected by my grandparents. I loved my grandparents wholeheartedly, but I also loved this man who showered me with gifts and attention. My biological father had gone to prison when I was in the 3rd grade, so I never connected with children that were my age. I was given an ultimatum by my grandparents to either have the person that I loved arrested for statutory rape or force me to have an abortion. I wanted the house and the picket fence with a family like the Lifetime movies portray. How could my grandparents not love this person the way that I did? My boyfriend devised a plan that was supposed to scare my grandparents and bring us all closer together. Things went horribly awry, and it resulted in their deaths. It also resulted in 2 consecutive life sentences for me. I gave birth under armed guard and had to hand over the one thing that I had strived for. I wanted desperately to be the mother that I never had. I parented the best that I could behind bars. To say that it was challenging would be an understatement. I had my share of mayhem, but I also took advantage of the educational and trade opportunities that were presented before me. There were few and far between in there, believe me. I needed to channel my aggressions toward freedom, so I connected with anyone that could offer relief of this incarceration. Governor Cooper put a committee, the Juvenile Sentencing Review Board, in place about 1.5 years ago that began to review juvenile cases, those of us that were sentenced under the age of 18. I was released March 24th of last year as a result of that. I currently work as a personal care aide in the home health field. Most of my clients have dementia. People often give me that, look, when I tell them what I do for employment. They also say that I must be patient. Well, if where I left and who I was around didn't teach me any patience, I don't know what would have. I'm a published author of 4 books. I had a lot of time on my hands in there. I wrote as a means of escape. Even when I couldn't get outside, I kept my mind active when my body could not be. I also have began an advocacy business. It's called Fenced In Fighting for Freedom Advocacy. What I want to do, because it's in the beginning stages, is provide resources for those who are incarcerated and resources to those once they are released, because they need resources inside as well. They need advocates like us. One of the best decisions that I have made since my release was to be a part of Step Up. Shocker, no brainer, right? They've provided employment, transportation through some of their partnerships. Wheels for Hope example. So I'll give you a little story. I was 15 when I went to prison, and I was just in driver's ed, so I really didn't know how to drive. So since I've gotten out, I had to learn to drive. Now, my resource council had given me a bike for transportation. Luckily, I didn't live but a couple of miles from that, but through Wheels for Hope via Step Up, I now own my own car, and I'm driving. So they provided all these opportunities that I desperately needed, along with the educational classes, employment opportunities. They allow me to go back to school. I do want to finish the education that I was able to piece together while I was inside. So I really want to go back and do that. But Step Up has provided me with a community that is welcoming and always there when you need them. I could stand here at length and discuss the gloriousness of Step Up. But I will leave you with one last thought to take away. Without people who believe in you, regardless of where you are and where you have been, your future will be dim. Advocates and supporters like Step Up provide infinite possibilities. Please support them in any way you can. Thank you.
Thank you, April, for sharing your story and strength. It is truly inspiring. Thank you so much. It's amazing. Again, go through your social media. We have a social media following, and I encourage you all to follow us on LinkedIn. We are on Facebook. We're also on Instagram. So if you haven't followed us, please follow, like, subscribe, and share to make sure that we get that message out and that you can get involved with us. So with that being said, our time is coming to a close. Thank you all so much for your time today. I hope you've learned something new and that we've sparked some energy and excitement in you.